Welcome back to another episode of the Tech Talks Daily podcast, where every day we try to explore the intersection of technology and real-world applications. If you are a business or IT leader listening to this podcast, and you have users screaming to get their hands on Apple MacBooks in the workplace, I've been listening to a new podcast that might be right up your street. It's from the global tech solutions provider SHI, and they've launched a podcast called We Got Your Mac. And essentially, it's a podcast dedicated to helping businesses decide if the Apple Mac platform is right for their users and their organisation. And every 2 weeks, they invite expert guests to explain the ins and outs of adopting Mac at scale. So you can learn more at wegotyourmac.com or find season 1 wherever you listen to your podcast. Now, today, though, we're going to be diving into the dynamic world of product management and artificial intelligence with a very special guest joining us. His name is Ryan Glasgow, founder and CEO of a company called Sprig, which is an innovative platform used by top companies from PayPal to Peloton that are all using them for user experience measurement. And Ryan also brings with him a wealth of experience, having been a product manager at multiple startups, successfully scaling them. So today, we're going to share his insights on how artificial intelligence is reshaping the way in which we build new features and new products, the common pitfalls in measuring user sentiment, and what the modern product stack looks like in 2023 and soon to be 2024. So we'll delve into the best practices for product teams to understand their users as they begin to scale, and also how world-class teams are leveraging AI and emerging technologies to build better products that truly resonate with their audience. So buckle up and hold on tight as I beam your ears all the way to the Bay Area in the US, where Ryan Glasgow is going to be sharing the secrets behind successful product management in the age of AI and much more. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell everyone listening a little about who you are and what you do?
Hey, thanks for having me on the show. I'm Ryan Glasgow, CEO and founder of Sprig. And what we do is we help companies understand what their customers think of their products. And we do that with a few different products that we offer. The first one is in-product surveys. So these are very contextual in-product surveys that will really understand in the moment what users are thinking about particular product moments. The second one is session replay. We record the user screens. You can see where they get stuck. You can see what's working and not working for those users. And the third is you can take your designs, maybe a Figma prototype, and embed that link in a Sprig prototype test and ask video and voice questions next to that prototype test. Share that link with your customers to see what they think about your next big launch. And then lastly, we have artificial intelligence that will take all the data that's being collected across those three products and really help you understand and make sense of that data. So we're using the latest LLMs to synthesize that data and provide actionable insights for product teams to improve their product experience.
It's incredibly cool what you're doing here. And on this podcast every day, I always try and get everybody listening to think differently about technology, how they can leverage technology to do things that they probably don't associate with tech at the moment. And one of the things that stood out for me was how you're incorporating artificial intelligence into product development. And of course, AI is a huge trend this year. It will continue to be a big trend next year, I'm sure. But can you expand on how AI can be effectively incorporated into the process of building new features, building new products, and some of the key considerations that product teams should maybe keep in mind if they're leveraging this technology too?
Incorporating AI into our product is something that we were, relatively early in. And so I started the company in 2019, and the first person who joined me on the founding team was our current head of AI, Kevin Mandich. And so it was, myself, him, and we had one other engineer with us in the founding days of Sprig. And so we've been really working with AI for close to 5 years now. And at the time, we were using open source models from Google, and we continue to really upgrade to the latest version. But earlier this year, we switched to a combination of open and closed source models. And so that's where we are today. And some of the best practices that we found for incorporating AI is customers often don't know what they're looking AI to do for them. And you have to realize that AI is a technology to help solve a customer problem. And sometimes I think with AI, we are looking for solutions and coming up with solutions that may not be deeply rooted in solving customer problems. And so one thing that, we have been learning over the nearly 5 years of working with AI, but also seeing some of our customers in their process of working with AI, is that very similar to traditional product management, you have to make sure you're solving an acute problem that the customer is experiencing. And so we actually don't really look at AI as a squad or a team. We really look at it as a technology to solve customer challenges. And we look at all the customer challenges that our customers have today. Maybe those can be solved with AI. Maybe those can be solved without AI. And I think really staying grounded is what's critical. When you see an opportunity where AI can solve a problem, what we see as being really effective is we built some internal applications to quickly test. Maybe you want to use ChatGPT. We also use GPT-4 connected to a retool application where we can test prompts. We can easily recreate prompts, test it with real actual data sets. And as we start to really iterate on the prompts, we'll then share that output of data with our customers. So we're not really building anything, but we're really testing prompts with real data to see if this is actually solving a customer problem and to see if this output, these insights or this application of AI is something that we want to invest further in. And once we really pass that prototyping phase with the LLMs and the large language models themselves, we'll then look to build out a beta and then ship a productized version to our customers in a very small feature flagged format to really start to see. And so I think with AI, we've added more rigorous product management processes. We've added more rigorous understanding of the problem. And we've also added more steps in the product development process to really see along the way, can we invalidate this? This is something maybe we shouldn't build. And challenging our use of AI more than a typical feature, knowing that we don't want to go down a path where maybe it's not really solving a true customer problem in a unique and differentiated way.
And that's one of the things I love about what you're doing here as well. It's less about the technology, more about solving the customer problem. And of course, you can only, you can't improve what you don't measure. And I'm curious, in your time, in your experience, what are some of the common mistakes that you've seen teams make when trying to measure things like user sentiment? Are there any big pitfalls that you see repeatedly being made? And how can these be avoided too?
When a lot of companies come to us and they're often saying, hey, we're getting some feedback. We're getting customer support tickets. We have a feedback button. We have a bit of a comment box where anyone can tell us what's on their mind. And we call that, that's really the vocal minority. But what you really want to focus on is the silent majority, the people that don't write it, the people that aren't screaming from the rooftop about how they want some new feature, or they want you to lower your pricing or add a new free capability to their current offering. And so we often work with companies and help them shift from, we're getting a lot of inbound feedback, people telling us what's on their mind, but that data often doesn't move the business forward. And so shifting from inbound feedback to actually getting outbound feedback, going into the users, the critical user segments that are strategically important for the business. Maybe it's a high value plan. Maybe it's an important segment for the growth of your 2024 plan. And first, asking questions to the right people. The second one is asking very specific questions to the right people. And the third is asking at the right time as they're experiencing flows, as they're onboarding with your product, as they're signing up for the first time, as they're trying that new feature, as they're canceling their plan, asking at the right time. And so where we really see the magic happen for understanding customers and measuring sentiment is asking specific questions to specific people at specific moments and really understanding that silent majority. It's using your product. There's something on their minds and you're not getting that information. And that's really where at Sprig, we move people from, hey, a lot of people are writing in with what's on their minds to let's go to the strategically important segment of our business, deeply understand what's working about the high leverage moments in our product, and ask the tough, hard-hitting questions that are going to help us understand how we can move our business forward.
And as you said a few moments ago, you've been working in AI for more than 5 years. And of course, this year, everything AI just exploded. There was mainstream adoption everywhere. And I'm curious, looking back, how have you seen that modern product stack evolve this year, especially in the context of things like user experience, measurement tools? And are there any other trends that you're seeing this year? Because it seems to be moving at such a rapid rate right now.
It absolutely is. And, we're seeing more products in every category. We're seeing it's easier to grow companies. For a while, it was easy to get capital. No longer can say that's potentially the case. We'll see if that comes back. But what we're seeing is we're seeing companies really think about how they can work together. And I think that's been really exciting is that when you look at marketing and sales tools, maybe you have Tableau, you have Salesforce, you have HubSpot, you have Outreach, and you have these operations roles that really connect all those tooling, look at the data together, have the tools work in harmony. And I think it's exciting that we're now seeing that in the product category. You're seeing your road mapping software connect with your analytics system to connect with your A/B testing infrastructure that's connect with Sprig, your user experience platform. And really looking the ability for a team, an engineer, a product team, an engineer, a designer, a data analyst, a product designer, to be able to look at, the errors that the product's getting, the revenue that the product is making, what users think about the product, and holistically understand how everything's operating and what's working and not working. And for engineers to get visibility into maybe design feedback and designers get visibility into quality issues. I think that's one of the rising trends we're seeing. And you're seeing the rise of product operations, research operations, these new roles that were traditionally go to market, now coming into these product development teams and saying, let's build out a holistic stack. Let's build out a road mapping of tools, and let's give all of you access to this really critical data so we can all be involved in solving these challenges together and work as a collaborative team.
And when it comes to challenges like understanding users at scale, I'm curious from what you're seeing, are there any strategies that world-class product teams are employing to maybe stay in tune with their users' evolving needs and preferences? There's a great line, I think it was the IBM chief more than 10 years ago, and she said that the last great experience you have becomes the standard expectation for every future experience everywhere. Of course, I'm paraphrasing there, but any world-class product teams or any kind of strategies that you're seeing here to get around this?
It is the founding thesis for Sprig, is that before Sprig, I was a product manager and I had worked at 4 companies pre-product market fit, and I could count the customers on 2 hands. And I was able to reach out to them and get them on the phone any day of the week. And when I went to Weebly, I joined and it was post-product market fit, and joined there as around employee 40 as the first product manager and helped scale the company to around 400 people and 59 accounts. And what I saw was the ability to understand the user experience at scale is incredibly broken. And there was no systematic platform to collect large-scale data, but also analyze large-scale data. And so at Sprig, we're equally focused. You heard about that head of AI, joining on our founding team, equally focused on the collection and the analysis since day one, but specifically for companies that are operating at scale. And so, many of the companies that we work with, Notion, Loom, Dropbox, Robinhood, Coinbase, Salesforce, just to name a few, Figma, Ramp, they're all really fast growing teams. They're all teams that are post-product market fit and bringing on hundreds of thousands of users onto their platforms. And what we often see is that They need to really increase their sophistication around how they understand their users. Sprig is, certainly one of the ways they do that, and a primary way to monitor and understand. And I think what's been exciting is that the user experience has never really had a seat at the executive table. If you think around 10 years ago, 20 years ago, the leadership team knew about the revenue. They knew how much you're making every week, how much you're making every month. About 10 years ago, we started to really see the rise of analytics, behavioral data, what users are doing in our products. And the leadership team knew the revenue, but they also knew the behavior, what users were doing with their products. What we're seeing with best-in-class teams at scale is that they're taking the experience data, the thoughts and feelings and sentiment from their users at scale, and they're also looking at that data on the leadership level in their business intelligence dashboards. And so I think that's one of the breakthroughs that we're seeing for understanding users at scale is taking experience data, sending that data to a business intelligence tool, which is something that, I'd never seen before maybe 5 years ago. But now we're seeing many of our customers send that data to their data warehouse, have that data then analyzed alongside the behavioral and revenue data, and then looking at this data holistically in a Looker or a Tableau or a dashboard. And we're seeing many of the CEOs and our customers in Sprig or consuming that data in a executive dashboard at their organizations. And so I think it's really exciting that the best-in-class category leaders, they care about the revenue, they care about what the users are doing, but they're now saying that if we can have happy customers, if we can have people that love our product, the behavior and the revenue will take care of itself. Those are lagging indicators, but the user experience, that's a leading indicator for what users will do in the future. And it's a leading indicator for the growth and health of our organization.
And just to bring to life some of what we're talking about here, are you able to share some maybe best practices that product teams could adopt to deepen their understanding of users, particularly in those early stages of product development? I appreciate you probably can't share too much. Is there anything you can, though?
In the early stages, deeply focused on the product market fit framework. And so when I, was at one of the first startups that I helped achieve product market fit, I implemented Sean Ellis's product market fit framework of asking, how disappointed would you be if you could no longer use this product? It's a scary question to ask. It's a tough one. If no one cares about your product existing tomorrow, maybe you don't want to know that. I've worked with teams that didn't want to ask the question, but it's so critical to ask these hard-hitting, tough questions because we're spending 10, 12 hours a day, to make an experience that matters. And if your customers don't think that you have a feature or product that's solving an important problem, that's differentiated in the world, it might not make an impact in its current form. It's not going to really reach the success that you're looking for in its current form. And so making sure pre-product market fit, whether you're just building a new feature, you're just building a new product, asking how disappointed would you be if this feature no longer exists, even if you're at an organization at scale. Asking if you're bringing a new product to life or a new startup to life, how disappointed would you be if this product no longer existed? And looking to see if at least 40% of people say very disappointed. And if you're at that 20 to 40%, you can probably get to 40% potentially through some iterations and really rethinking that feature or that product. If you're 0 to 20, you might be off track. But we're seeing even some of our largest customers, I've been very impressed. 2 of our largest customers are using that specific question with all their new features they're launching. How disappointed would you be if this feature no longer existed? And they're doing it after their users have experienced that feature, subsequent times they've had enough usage of it, where they can really weigh in and say, this is a killer feature, or this is a feature that, if you shut down tomorrow, not a big deal. And it allows them to narrow their focus and really think about where they want to invest their resources. In the current economy, we're all having to narrow our focus. We're having to be more strategic about who we serve and how we serve that person. And so by really asking these tougher questions, it allows these teams and these businesses to think more strategically, to have that narrower focus by deeply understanding what is the critical part of our offering that we have today, and what are the areas that are maybe not so critical. And that's really going to guide our 2024 strategy.
And I'm curious, how are you seeing AI transforming the way product teams develop new features, respond to user feedback, etc.? Are there any specific tools or methodologies that you'd recommend?
For using AI, it's been really exciting just to see how every company is incorporating AI. I think certain companies are having more success than others. And I think we're seeing a little bit of the companies that are incorporating features that can be done by a global solution like ChatGPT. They might not be getting that adoption. But if you're doing a more local application of AI, here at Sprig, we are taking all of the survey data and we're using AI to analyze the data in real time as the data comes in. That's not something that you can do with ChatGPT. You're not getting that real time, tuning. But I have seen companies that are maybe incorporate, like LinkedIn. I'll pick on LinkedIn. They just launched a feature to rewrite your LinkedIn post.
Yeah.
So you can click rewrite my LinkedIn post. And I tried it yesterday. And I also tried Bard, and I also tried ChatGPT. And I found that Bard and ChatGPT had better versions than LinkedIn. And so when you think about competing with the global AI, I think it's going to be very difficult for those solutions to really be effective. But when you think about, more of the local applications, I think that's where we're seeing the bigger breakthroughs. And so for teams that, are building products, I think you have to think about what are the tools that are available that are incorporating AI in a more local way, maybe helping write a product spec, or maybe it's helping, analyze data in real time, like I mentioned with Sprig, but then also thinking about how we can apply AI in a very localized, differentiated way that is not going to compete with these broader LLM solutions like Bard and ChatGPT. So two-part answer there, but I think choosing solutions that are not just bolting on AI, but also thinking about how as product teams, you can incorporate AI in a way that is not competitive with these broader solutions.
I agree with you on that. And for any business leader or startup founder listening, if we were to tap into your extensive experience in product management across multiple startups, are there any key techniques or strategies that you would recommend for building world-class products? I understand it isn't that simple, but is there anything you can share that would help everyone listening?
When, looking back at prior to starting Sprig, I joined 4 companies, all 5 companies as the first product manager, 4 of them pre-product market fit, 1 of them post-product market fit. They all went on to be successfully acquired by companies like Adobe, Snap, Square, Rakuten. And it's always been about making sure you're solving the right problems. And I think whether that's bringing a new startup to life, bringing a new product to life, bringing a new feature to life, many times we like to jump to a solution or maybe solve a problem that maybe isn't that critical to solve. And the more that you can get the problem right, and actually it's not as important to get the solution right. I think that's the big misconception, is that I've seen teams work on solving, they have amazing solutions to problems that aren't really burning problems. And so I would take a lot of the thinking and the late nights and the hard work that we're doing, to not think about how to solve the problem, but to make sure that we're solving the right problem. And maybe that problem, it's not just, it could be, who are we solving the problem for? It could be, what are the specific outcomes that person's looking for? It could be the firmographic attributes. So maybe we're solving the problem for a small business, or maybe we could be solving the problem for a large business. Those are really the variables to tinker with and to get right when you think about features or with products or really solving anything, and really making sure that you've dialed in all those different variables and then think about the solution. And so I think I would just encourage everyone out there to shift more of that focus, more of that emphasis on the specifics around who you're serving and the specifics around the outcomes that you're trying to drive for that specific segment. And then the solution itself will always come naturally. I will say, of course, listening to your customer, talking to your customer. And if you can couple those two ingredients together, solving the right problem and deeply listening and understanding those customers, which is why I founded Sprig, then success is, I won't say highly likely, but it's your best chance of having a home run success.
Fantastic advice. And of course, we're literally a few weeks away from life in 2024. So as we look forward, are there any other emerging trends in AI and product management that you think will maybe significantly impact how products are designed and improved in not just 2024, but the coming years ahead too? Anything you're seeing there?
A lot of SaaS tools out there, I think we're going to see a rapid evolution of the landscape next year. And, we're seeing some SaaS applications that might lose product market fit because of AI. One example is that we're rapidly adding analysis capabilities right into Sprig. Historically, we did some of the analysis with our text analysis, but we also had a lot of users export the data into a spreadsheet and do all the analysis in maybe Tableau or Mode or in a spreadsheet. And so with AI and how fast it's moving, I think we're going to see some companies rapidly increase their product market fit. Their growth will accelerate. I think we'll see other companies start to drift and lose their product market fit. And, I think with AI, it's rewriting the rule book. Everyone's starting from scratch. It's the first inning for all of us. And it's really resetting a lot of the categories out there, whether it's sales or marketing or product development. And so, we feel really good about all the data that we're collecting at Sprig. And now we're applying AI to analyze all that data and really solving that founding thesis of helping these rapidly growing companies understand their users at scale through the collection, but also the analysis of the user experience data. So I'm excited for 2024. ChatGPT has been out for less than a year. We've been using GPT for less than a year. And I know next year is even going to have some bigger breakthroughs from Google, from OpenAI, and it's going to continue to rewrite the game for the broader category.
Exciting times ahead. And that pace of technological change is continuing to race forward at breakneck speed. But there's also that realization it's never going to move this slow again. And there's a real pressure on everyone to be in a state of continuous learning. So I've got to ask, as someone right in the heart of this space, where or how do you self-educate? Any tips you can share around that?
Yeah, I used to read books quite a bit on my phone, and big fan of that Kindle application. I do, though, have a 1-year-old, and so I'll say my time management shifted. And so I love just audiobooks and also podcasts. And I'll actually go to sleep now to an audiobook and a podcast every night. And so it's a way to get that time as you're falling asleep, that 20 minutes, 30 minutes as I'm falling asleep every night, to really maximize those learnings. And so that's been a great outlet to go through a biography, go through an audiobook on a topic that I'm looking to learn about. But also podcasts in particular, I think lately have been a great way to understand what's happening outside of Sprig, understanding those trends, particularly the macroeconomic trends, but also following trends in AI and seeing, what other companies are doing. And so big believer in time management. And if you can listen while you do something else, then that's a great way to maximize your time.
Absolutely love that. And for anyone listening that would just like to find out more information or dig a little bit deeper on some of the areas that we explored today around product stacks and how world-class product teams understand their users, etc., we've covered a lot in a short amount of time. Where would you like to point everyone listening to find out more information or even contact your team?
We love getting companies started and better understanding their customers. Like I said at the beginning, our goal and mission is to help companies understand what their customers think of their products. And so sprig.com/get started. You can do dash, you can do no dash, but /get started is where you can get set up. And we do have a 10% off for anyone who wants to meet with our team. And our team is very consultative. They love to share a little bit about, best practices, share about how you can be better understanding your customers, which is going to be even more critical as we shift to, increasingly competitive environment across every category.
Well, there's a call to action right there. Remember to say you heard that 10% offer here on Tech Talks Daily. And for anyone, I'd love to find out more about what everyone thought about listening to today's conversation around how to incorporate AI into building new features and products, product management techniques, strategies to build world-class products. We covered it all today. But it wasn't just about the technology, it's solving real customer problems. That's what the real value behind it for me. But more than anything, just a big thank you for coming on today, sitting down with me and bringing this topic to life. Huge thank you.
Thanks for having me, Neil. It's been a fun conversation.
And that brings us to the end of another insightful episode of Tech Talks Daily. So a big thank you to Ryan from Sprig for joining us today, sharing his perspectives in AI in product development, user sentiment analysis, and the evolution of the product stack. And I think Ryan's experience in scaling startups and his expertise in harnessing AI to enhance user experience have provided us with a much deeper understanding of the modern challenges and equally opportunities in product management. And I think today we explored the critical role in AI in developing new features, the importance of accurately measuring user sentiment, and how to effectively scale user understanding in growing a business. And I think his emphasis on prototyping, testing, and using customer feedback as a guide in strategic decision making are every bit as important as the technology that we're leveraging here. So thank you, Ryan, for this enlightening discussion today, and thank you to everyone listening for tuning in. Please join me next time where we will continue to demystify the world of technology and explore how it's solving real-world problems. But remember, it's not just about building products, it's about building solutions that resonate with its users. And on that note, I'm just going to say thank you for listening as always. Hopefully you'll join me again tomorrow, but until next time, don't be a stranger.